Welcome to today's video. We have more Season 9 news for you guys. We are 2 days away from one of the most hyped up seasons ever, and I hope it delivers. If you want to know all of the news, if you just want to see all the Season 9 stuff come into the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/AfroStex. Enough of that. We've got the patch notes have been released by Dexterto.com. Been out for a few days now. I've not had a chance to properly look at them, so I'm going to look with you guys. Today we are going to be looking at the patch notes, and I'm going to be looking at the weapons first. I have no idea what weapons are going to be nerfed or buffed. I've not looked at it yet. The one thing I do know is what we see on the screen right now is that there is a new category called Marksman, and in this one there is going to be the G7, the 30-30, the triple take, and the bow check bow in the Marksman category. And I think the ammo is going to stay the same, so the G7 is still going to have light, 30-30 still going to have heavy, the bow check will be taking arrows. And the reason they're mentioning about the triple take is because that's going to be the new care package weapon. So the Peacekeeper is now ground loot, which I don't agree with, honestly. The Peacekeeper is a very overpowered weapon. I think the Peacekeeper needs to stay in the supply drop. I don't really see the triple take being an overpowered weapon. It's not really everyone's sniper of choice because there's a gold longbow, there's the sentinel, which is overpowered as well. I don't really think the triple take is an overpowered weapon, but it doesn't matter. It's going into the supply drops. I think the Peacekeeper is going to be too overpowered, and I can see it getting nerfed in probably the next upgrade if it's going to be the same Peacekeeper. Braver will spawn less often in the early game, more often in the mid game, so that's okay. And the triple take is going to be the most common one to come out mid game. Early game, sorry. So the triple take will be the most common one early game, and the Prowler is still going to be in there. But now there's two snipers, so you've got a Prowler as the SMG. And now you've got two snipers, the triple take and the Kraber, which is just a strange choice. It's just super strange. Fully kitted rotation. So currently in this season we have the 30-30, the R301, the Longbow, the Mozambique, and the Spitfire. I love all except the 30-30. No, except the 30-30 and the Longbow. I love a gold R301. A gold Mozambique does pop off, and obviously Spitfire has been the season 8 meta. So instead, the new rotation is going to be the bow check, the wingman, the hemlock, the R99, and the sentinel. You know what? I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that because I think the bow check one's going to be very interesting as well. It is the new gun, so I think it does deserve a kitted rotation, just like the 30-30 was the season 8 one. I think the most interesting one out of these 5 is the hemlock. We're really interested to see how the hemlock does as a gold weapon. Next up, we have new Hopups which were announced. We have the shatter caps, which are for the bow check, and now it's going to be coupled to the 30-30, that's going to be interesting. And Deadeye's tempo, which increases fire rate, and that's going to be attached to the sentinel. That's going to be interesting. I've got really good with the sentinel for season 8 for some reason, so I'm going to be looking forward to trying out tempo for the sentinel. And who knows, maybe adding shatter caps to 30-30 helps. It might help. Make room to hammer point and skull piercer are being volleyed. So that means the Mozambique is now pointless. You've added 6 rounds to the Mozambique, and now it feels pointless because there's no hammer point. And the same for the P2020 as well. P2020 with hammer point was so good, and now it's gone. Skull piercer, I don't really use skull piercer, so I'm not that fussed about it, but still a little bit annoying. So now let's get into the weapons. Let's start off with the assault rifles. So it's reducing the headshot multiplier from 2.0 to 1.75. That might not be really affected, so we'll see. But the dev note was already a case for the hemlock, so I don't really use the hemlock. So we're going to have to see, for the other weapons I use, the R301, the Flatline, and the Havoc, if this is going to be a huge change. We'll find out. We'll find out together, right here on this YouTube channel. Next up, Peacekeeper. So it's coming with a choke, by default. You know, where I just mentioned about it being overpowered? you're keeping the choke in there. Well, you did for the triple take, so fair enough. Alright, so it can be toggled off, but no one's going to toggle it off, are they? The pellet damage from 10 to 9, okay. The recharge time has been increased from 0.9 to 1.1. The reload time is increased. Okay. So the reload time has been increased. So regular without choke, 2.45, 2.5, so not big change. Empty from 3.35 to 3.5, so a little bit more of a change. The pellet spread has increased in general, and spread when charged increased for all charge levels. So, any question? And quickly loses charge after leaving ADS. Okay. So I need to bring the stats back in line, which is one of the dev notes here as well. So, interesting. Now we have the triple take, which is going to be the crit weapon. It now has a 9 ammo clip and a 63 reserve ammo, so that's a lot of good ammo for a triple take. The fire rate's increased, so they've kind of buffed for triple take because it's going as a crit weapon, so it has to be a little bit overpowered. So the fire rate's increased from 1.2 to 1.3. The time to full charge has been reduced from 1.1 seconds to 1. Returns charge briefly after leaving ADS. The move speed while aiming down sight has been increased to match other marksman weapons. So now it's because it's a marksman weapon. There's going to be no sniper stocks or sniper scopes. So it's going to be like the 1x scope, the HCOG, the bruiser, the 2x4. So it's going to be really interesting. I still use a 2x4 scope for snipers. So if I have a triple, well, it depends what the triple take comes with. It's going to be really interesting to see. An increased spread while airborne and aiming down. It's like going to be really interesting to see how the triple take goes. And if I do find it in the career, I will actually try it out just to see how it is. Next up we have the Havoc. So it's increased the recoil controllability early in the pattern. So it's it's like a little incy-wincy buff for the Havoc. So now we have the Metagun for Season 8 Metagun was the Spitfire. And it's reduced recoil controllability early in the pattern. So, just the dev note, Spitfire is too strong. Yeah, it is. Bursting, good damage output, low recoil. Making it a bit harder to control early in the pattern to give more time to opponents to fight against it. That said, we're prepared to make more changes to the Spitfire. So, it's not a huge nerf to the Spitfire. And there should be. There should be a huge nerf to the Spitfire. You see how OP it is. It was the meta gun for Season 8. There have been so many videos talking about the Spitfire. I'm surprised it's not been hugely nerfed. This is quite a shock. I still think that the Spitfire could be a Season 9 meta gun. We'll see. Next, we have the 3030 repeater, which in my opinion has been a bad gun. It's increased leg damage multiplier from 0.75 to 0.85. And the move speed while ADSing has been increased to match other marksman weapons, faster in snipers so than ARs. So they've really changed around this gun because now it's classed as a marksman weapon. It's not classed as an AR anymore, it's a marksman. So it has to act like that type of weapon. So it's interesting. I'll give it a try. Next up we have one of my favourite guns, the G7 Scout, which has now been classed as a marksman. So the move speed while ADSing has been increased to match other marksman weapons, like the 3030, and it's increased the hip fire size to be more in line with other marksman weapons. So they've given it a buff. I love the G7 how it is, so if they've buffed it more, I'm definitely going to be using this gun more, especially now that it's going to be classed as a marksman. I'm still going to use it, So it's got a good buff. I didn't think it needed a buff, but it's got one. Next up we have the Longbow. It's increased the headshot multiplier from 2.0 to 2.15. Interesting. Well, they've kind of given it a buff because now it's no longer a gold weapon, but it's going to be interesting to see. The Wingman, same headshot multiplier as the Longbow. Interesting. Oh yeah, also, the Wingman and the Longbow actually had the skull piercer. Now that they don't have the skull piercer, they've gotten that buff. The Mozambique. Hammer point's gone. So what's the point of using the Mozambique? But like I said in my previous video, the magazine capacity has been increased from 4 to 6, and they've moved the lower 2 pellets inward in the blast pattern. So this brings up the baseline power level, so only finding a Mozambique earlier in the match gives you more of a fighting chance. So what the dev notes are basically saying is a Mozambique's good for early game. If you have that end game, you're not winning. So get that Mozambique for early game and go find another shotgun. Get the Mozambique and then go find a Peacekeeper. That's what the devs are pretty much trying to tell you. Next up, P2020, which also does have hammer point. Decrease the bullet damage from 15 to 18. That's probably for body shot. So is that for body shot and headshot? I have no idea. And they've lowered the fire rate from 8.5 to 6.25, so that it needed a buff. The P2020 needed that buff because hammer point's gone. So it's going to be interesting to see how both guns actually play with this like initial buff. It's going to be interesting to see how the P2020, the Mozambique, the Wingman and the Longbow actually play in this season, because they don't have to hop up. So I'm going to try them all out. So most players couldn't take advantage of the fast fire rate. Well, yeah, because the gun's initially slow anyway, and so you have to hop up. So what the dev notes are basically saying, guys, is you get the Mozambique and the P2020 from spawn, you've got a fighting chance. But don't keep them. You find some upgrades, which is pretty much trying to tell you. Also, we have the Arc Star. So the aim and movement slow removed from the initial stick. So when you get hit with an Arc Star, you can still run normally now, so you're not going to slow down. So that's kind of a buff for the person that's getting stuck. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange for that one, because I feel like you're getting hit with an Arc Star. You shouldn't. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one with an Arc Star, because you shouldn't be running away immediately after getting stuck. Because if you think it's real, like if we're taking this into a real chance, you're getting a star thrown at your skin. You shouldn't be able to just run away because you're going to feel that initial pain. So your movement should be slowed down, you know? But that's everything about the weapons. Honestly, I thought there would be a change for all the weapons, but there isn't. So really interesting. Just to take from this, I think the Peacekeeper's still going to be overpowered. I think the Spitfire is still going to be overpowered. I think that the Mozambique P2020 Wingman and Longbow are going to be like new weapons that people are going to explore. I think the 3030 might actually be a good gun to use now, because it's got the hop up and it's got a lot of good buffs as well. There's nothing massively been nerfed, which I've seen as well. There hasn't really been like a gun that's been hugely nerfed and unusable. So that's going to be interesting. So it's kind of like balanced everything out now. So we're going to see over the next coming weeks what the metagun's going to be. Next week there's going to be so much content. So make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to be going through Arena, the Battle Pass. I'm going to be going through Valkyrie. I'm going to be going through the Bow, Ranked. There's going to be so much. And I want you guys to see it all first. So subscribe, turn those notifications on. And right now, I'm going to record tomorrow's video. So I hope you all have a good day. Let me know if you're hyped for Season 9. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video.